Let's see. Been tough around here for a good while now. Worse since them thugs kidnapped our deputy. It started with the breakout from the prison up the road. First there was just a few thugs rolling through town, but then they got organized. Now they call themselves powder gangsters or something, and run around throwing dynamite and shooting people. A little while ago, a good chunk of them left whatever kind of organization they got up there to squeeze all the food and drink out of us they could. I guess I don't have anywhere better to be. Well, you can call Beagle a deputy so long as you don't harbor too high an opinion of the word. Boy was about as useful as tits on a rad scorpion. Only qualification he ever had was to be brother to the wife of the sheriff. Still, I suppose he don't deserve what's befell him. We would have considered paying the ransom, if we'd had caps to spare. Gangers, gangsters, all sounds like trouble to me. Right now, Beagle is the closest Primm's got to any organized law. But he's still stuck up in Bison Steve. First thing I'd say is get his sorry butt out of there.
I don't suppose you came here to rescue me. I'd cross my fingers, but my hands are numb. Why, yes I am. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm in a bit of a predicament here. I'd be most appreciative if you'd set me free. I must say it's been the low point of my career in law enforcement. The powder gangers stole into town at night and murdered my sister and her husband, the sheriff, in bed while I was sleeping in the office. I watched them for a bit, waiting for the right moment to pounce and arrest the lot of them, taking careful notes as I watched. To my dismay, they found me while I waited in the shadows and brought me here. Oh, that's just marvelous. I think I'll be making my way outside now. The air's a little close in here. Then I'll defer to your superior appraisal of character and prowess in contests of arms and see you outside.
Hey, youngster. Still hanging about Primm, huh? Kinda too bad you didn't do it the other way around. Primm ain't got no future until rule of law comes back to town.
Well, that was quite an adventure. We taught those convicts a thing or two, didn't we? Breaking myself out of a hostage situation, not to diminish your role in it, of course, but it was quite thrilling. Problem is, there's still no law in Primm. What are we to do the next time ruffians menace us and hold us hostage? Oh no, I'm just the deputy, and I can't be a deputy without a sheriff. It's called chain of command. Well, a deputy isn't much good without a sheriff. So I figured I'd come in here and protect these good people until someone finds us a new one. It should be someone brave like you, but more of a homebody. Someone who'll settle down and watch over us. I heard the powder gangers talking about someone in the prison named Myers who has some experience as a sheriff. He may be a good choice. Also, with the NCR so close by, you may be able to get them to take over the town. Not sure why they haven't helped out already. You will? That's just marvelous. I'll start thinking up questions for the interview. The sheriff that was incarcerated up at NCRCF may be a good choice. You also may be able to convince that NCR guy across the road to take the town under his wing. Although martial law doesn't sound so fun.
Hey, youngster. Still hanging about Primm, huh? Now, your guess is as good as mine. You might luck upon someone who's a natural-born sheriff. I heard of one fellow what got himself locked in that NCR jailhouse up I-15, and maybe that ain't the best credential, but a sheriff's a sheriff. I imagine the NCR would be able to bring some law to the town, too. But from what I've seen, they barely got the firepower to protect themselves. Finally decided to make yourself useful, huh? If you can bring the law back to Primm, we'll all be in your debt.
What is it? I can't imagine that deputy of theirs is worth more than a spit. I was on lookout when he got frog-marched over to Bison Steve. If I had a long rifle or the order, I would have taken out the powder gangers to save him, but I didn't. He's tough shit, I guess.
Yeah? We know Primm is a great strategic point, and we aren't blind to the needs of the town, but we're barely holding our own against the powder gangers. We don't have the guns or the personnel needed to carry out our mission, much less take on defending this town as well. What we need more than anything is bodies. If we had just one more squad, we could easily install a sheriff and still handle our primary objective of protecting the interstate south of here. If you'd like to see the NCR include protection of Primm and its duties, then you'll have to get some more troops up here. Knight at Mojave Outpost may be able to help.
Caravan, citizen, pilgrim, or... Just need something for the logbook, keeping tabs on traffic throughout the outpost. Although mostly just in, not out these days. If you're looking for the commanding officer, he's in the back. Although, he's got a lot on his plate, so if you speak with him, keep it short. Also, if you need any gear checked, we can get you up and running again. Once you fill out the work orders and sign for the parts, of course. Primm? Hayes units is stationed up there. We're having problems with some of the NCRCF convicts. What can I help you with? I'd like to help, but we can't spare any more units. We have to maintain a minimum head count at the outpost. Orders from the west. I see the wisdom in that. I'll radio for a unit to head up to Primm and offer some additional support.
Yeah? Yeah, I just got word of that. There's a squad of rangers standing by. Sergeant McGee will take over as sheriff and the rangers will be his deputies. This town will be in NCR territory. This means that aside from protection, the citizens will also need to become registered NCR citizens and pay any appropriate and associated taxes. Roger. I'll radio them over now.
Primm is secure against outside threats. Be interesting to see how long the natives stay grateful.
Well, if it isn't the lawbringer. My problem is that I'm no longer a deputy. I'm just a Beagle now. Apparently 2.5 months of law enforcement experience doesn't count for anything. The new regime is just that. All new. He's rude. Don't tell him I said it. Primm has a sheriff now, just not as supportive as I would have hoped.
Thanks to you, Primm's on the way back up. With folks watching over us, I think the raiders will keep their distance.
Heard it was you brought the law back to Primm, youngster. Hats off to you. We got rule of law again, but of the martial variety. NCR orders us around like junior soldiers. Better than lawlessness, though.
Sounds like the NCR is finally getting off their ass to settle things around here. Don't expect me to get in their way. Assuming an NCR pardon comes with the job, and it had better. I also need to be able to do things my own way. Due process has its place, but sometimes it's just a waste of time. I'll need to know that I'm not going to end up right back in prison. When I need to? Yes. All right then. Guess I'll just make a quiet exit. No need for a goodbye party or anything.
Primm? Hayes units is stationed up there. We're having problems with some of the NCRCF convicts. What can I help you with? One of the powder gangers? They've been nothing but trouble for us. Why would we want one of them anywhere in an official capacity? All right. If his sentence was closing up, I can see about getting him pardoned. Primm is important to our trade up from California, so having someone there who owes us a favor, that couldn't hurt.
Thanks for getting me that pardon. Me and the boys will take good care of Primm. Don't you worry.
Well, if it isn't the lawbringer. My problem is that I'm no longer a deputy. I'm just a Beagle now. Apparently 2.5 months of law enforcement experience doesn't count for anything. The new regime is just that. All new. He's a good sheriff, but a hard man. He doesn't abide by anyone slinking by the rules. I guess there won't be any trouble, but the man's law is hard.
Thanks to you, Primm's on the way back up. With folks watching over us, I think the raiders will keep their distance.
Heard it was you brought the law back to Primm, youngster. Hats off to you. Got a new sheriff, as you know. Meyer's a bit rougher hewn than I might have liked, but he seems like a good sort. So far, so good.
Howdy, partner. Welcome to the Vicky and Vance Casino and Museum. Primm Slim at your service. Authentic cowpoke and official spokesspot of the Vicky and Vance Casino and Museum. Yeehaw! Why, this is the Vicky and Vance Casino and Museum, Primm's premier tourist attraction and resort destination. Yeehaw! Primm is a thriving resort community located in Clark County, Nevada, right along Interstate 15. Whether you can't wait till Vegas to try your luck, or want to hit one last jackpot before you leave Nevada, Primm's your place. The town's premier attraction is the world-famous Vicky and Vance Casino and Museum, so you came to the right place, partner. The Bison Steve is one of Primm's less impressive casino hotels. I'd steer clear of that place, partner, if I were you. Rumor is the dealers over there cheat, and that rickety roller coaster is liable to fall down any day because it wasn't built to code. Where have you been, partner? Hiding under a rock? Vicky and Vance were this nation's 4th or maybe 5th most infamous celebrity outlaw couple ever. That's who they was. Primm Slim here can tell you the whole story, if you can spare a minute to hear the tale. Yahoo! I ain't had a chance to tell their tale in a mess of years. First things first, any boss you've heard about Vicky and Vance being copycats ain't nothing but ill-tempered slander. Fact is, they begun their crime spree 2 days before Bonnie and Clyde robbed their first bank. So who was copying who? Now true, Vicky and Vance didn't exactly cut a wide swath of murder and bank robbery across the central US like Bonnie and Clyde did. It was more like a narrow swath of shoplifting, check cashing fraud, and gas pump drive-offs. But crime is crime. They drove reckless too. Having lived by the gun, well, Vance owned one anyway, it was only fitting that the duo of desperados would die by the gun. Perhaps it was fate itself that accidentally drove them into a crossfire between police and a gang of bank robbers in Plano, Texas. Or maybe they just didn't notice until it was too late. It's been said that Vicky would have tried to cash a bad check in that bank, had she lived. We'll never know for sure. All we know is that the crossfire tore the car and both occupants to pieces, and the police issued an official apology. You can put your eyes on the genuine death car just over yonder, and there's Vance's machine gun in the case next to it. Happy trails, partner.
Hey, youngster. Still hanging about Primm, huh? Well, I guess I never thought of that. I guess he could be sheriff. If you think he could be reprogrammed for it.
Any luck finding a suitable candidate for our next sheriff? I do thank you so kindly for your efforts. Well, I reckon he could be a sheriff if you have the skills to reprogram him.
Howdy, partner. Welcome to the Vicky and Vance Casino and Museum. Law enforcement protocols reinstated, partner. Initializing use of force authorization. Authorization found. Yeehaw!
Well, if it isn't the lawbringer. My problem is that I'm no longer a deputy. I'm just a Beagle now. Slim's all right. I don't wish him no harm, but the law to him is a set of logic. Not everything is black and white. Not sure a robot can ever understand that.
Thanks to you, Primm's on the way back up. With folks watching over us, I think the raiders will keep their distance.
Heard it was you brought the law back to Primm, youngster. Hats off to you.
Primm formally sworn a new sheriff today. RNV reporters were on hand to hear the new sheriff address the crowd.